about their days. And we're going to be jumping straight into Game 1 of Vici versus BLG.
So Vici does have side selection, and blue side is the side that most people are going to favor at this point. We see the Lucian ban, very standard, a triple flex in today's meta, Akali taken away also, and Set should be global ban. That should not be a selection choice. And Misfortune, just like they're doing in Demacia Cup, instantly locked down.
I almost had a heart attack. I was like, wait a minute, I haven't studied anything about Set yet. I haven't even played him. I was so underprepared. But Misfortune locked in, pretty standard across the board, considering you get the Varus banned away, the Lucian, and the Aphelios. Elise going to be picked up here for Meteor. I like this. You talked about picking an early game jungler. You can't get much more early game than Elise.
And this also gives him that last pick chance for Kingen to finally have his shot against Cube. These two have been one of the best performing top laners in the Demacia Cup, so it's going to be interesting to see how can Cube now play a more defensive matchup. Looking at the AD carries, Senna, kind of the standard pick go-to right here. Honestly, iBoy is very comfortable against playing the Senna. You have to also note the Leona is still up on the board, so we've seen that combo being played multiple times already in the Demacia Cup, where you can 100 to 0 and just kill the Senna straight off the bat with the ultimate chain.
Yeah, Gragas locked in here for Chieftain as we wait for the third pick on this round for Vici Gaming, but all the supports are up as of the moment, so I'd be curious to see now, do you take that kind of classic counter against the Misfortune with the Braum? Do you look towards more engaged like the Leona? I'm curious to see now what BLG respond to it, but Vici hovering now their last pick. Forge is known for his Jace, and that Jace could be locked in.
Ooh, yeah, this is going to be a very fun one. I think you're going to see Fofo really rise to the challenge and try to get a counter out of here as well, but for now, they don't really know where the Jace is going, so most likely the support pick is still going to be to the go-to here. There's a couple... We've been seeing how Senna plays around, and she really needs protection. You are heavily incentivized to reposition because you don't get any of the attack speed delays. You don't get... your wind-up doesn't decrease with attack speed that much, and now they're going to go with the Braum. That fits the protection, and we've also seen Braum do very, very well against Misfortune, just blocking out all of her ult damage.
Very much a standard counter, as we're saying, but now we've got ourselves a solo lane, an AD carry, and a jungle. For Vici, where are you going? Where are you banning, and what are you looking to try and prioritize in your final few picks?
So this looks like BLG are trying to get a good matchup for Kingen. Kingen's been in a very high position in the Korean solo queue ladder. We've seen a lot of his plays before, and I think setting that up, taking away the safe picks away from the top side, is a good idea. The only thing they might run into is, you know, Cube snatching a Jace out of thin air.
See what they go for now. They're taking their time with these bans, really focusing on, like you said, those solo laners, those monsters that can just take over a game, the Aurelia, the Mordekaiser. He said the best way to start the LPL before you go on a 2-week break would be to get a win in the bag. You know, you only play each other once for the entire season. It's a best of 3, make the most of it.
Yep, definitely is the case. Both sides just thinking about those solo laners. What Vici want to do is they want to make sure there's no terrible matchups for Jace. Aurelia is one of those matchups that if you scale with time, it's actually quite easy to just pick Jace off later into the game. And they don't want a good combo. Renekton might be on the cards right here. Renekton Elise has always been something that is very deadly, and Pantheon Elise is pretty much permabanned. No one gets to get that combo in this new patch.
Well, Pantheon is just so powerful in the lane. You combo that with such an early game jungler, it's just never really going to happen. But Nautilus was banned away, so BLG trying to focus on that. And there's the Camille as well, again, trying to make sure that Jace has an easy enough time. Could throw the Camille mid, same with the Aurelia, so making sure they get enough out of that. Nico being hovered, doubt it will be picked. But we'll see exactly what BLG want to go for here as they're just kind of hovering through A to Z.
Yeah, I do suspect this will be the mid laner here. With Elise, it's much easier to tower dive. She has that auto repel that can get her out of tower range, so they're going to leave that one till the very last. And Kiana is just a great pick overall. She was basically the second most banned pick throughout Demacia Cup and Kespa Cups. Very strong champion.
We've mainly seen, yeah, I was going to say, we've mainly seen her, though, in the jungles. This is going to be a mid-lane Kiana, a lane Kiana, which we haven't really seen so far at the start of the LPL.
Very punishable against the Jace matchup, but you can try and get kills early on with it. Jace himself not super mobile, and with Elise there, it might force him to go and take a cleanse.
might force that out. We'll see exactly what the final pick is. Hypothetically, that Kiana could go top lane. We don't know in this meta. Sometimes we really don't, because there is just so much priority all around the map that if you get an early lead, you can just snowball.
Yeah, and what I wanted to say here, Vici could just take an Ornn. They left Renekton and Aatrox on the table. Both of those matchups can destroy a top lane bruiser if you don't throw enough attention to it. So Ornn is just something that's very, very safe. Try not to trade with them. Buy your items in the lane. Don't go back. And just play around the bottom side. I really like what Vici has drafted right here. They know that they have to play defensive and focus on one side of the map rather than trying to contest both.
Aatrox could be locked in here. We very safe pick there. Actually, might go for the full 1v1. Don't talk about hovers. That's my one rule, and I've broken it. One rule, and I've broken it. Never mind. The Fiora is locked in, so there's side lane pressure. There is a hell of a lot of AD here for BLG. If they can get out of turret, they will melt objectives.
Ooh, yeah, this BLG roster is very mobile. However, in the top side, Fiora into the Ornn matchup, you don't usually get push into that matchup, so you're not going to see a lot of tower dives. I do suspect that this is going to be both teams focusing towards the bottom side of the lane. With the catch that you have onto Senna, and also with Glacial Augment being run a lot of the times, it's very easy to snowball against someone like the Leona, like the Misfortune. This is a very volatile bottom side.
And even looking at it as well, very volatile bottom side, but the jungles, you got the Gragas, you got the Elise. These guys are going to be looking for that level 3 gank in any lane, really. You cannot be safe. You got to be very aware that, you know, where you go is going to be punished if you're not 100% in the knowledge where you know the jungler is.
Definitely is the case. I just wanted to point out a very nice warm smile coming in from Koma when he sees Coach Sim. Both of them obviously come from Korea and did play against each other. Coach Sim was previously the Najin Black Shield coach back from season 3. So a lot of these players, you know, finding themselves in different environments, but still on the same high level of play.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. As we see now, they've just come over to the best league in the world. Just going to put that out there. 2 world championships in a row and 2 teams in the semifinals. So I kind of, you know, Fnatic
the only region that has that now.
Yeah, I know, right? It's been a while since
LCK, but you know, things have definitely changed around here. I want to see how Koma does. And just to point out, we do have 2 coaches on the stage these days. Koma actually did not bring Pumandu. That's the original Vici coach of Maokai. So wedding the new with the old, just understanding the players a little bit more.
All right. Who are you favoring? Who's taking game 1?
From the draft, I actually really like what BLG have right here. I think they can play a 4-1 style quite well with Fiora split pushing towards the late game. And if Xingwo can have the same impact that we have seen from Southwind on that Braum, oh my god, he is going to completely block out what Chieftain and iBoy can do.
We'll have to wait and see. I'm a play-by-play, so I don't have enough knowledge to make a guess. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are jumping onto the Rift for Game 1 of Day 3 of the LPL 2020 Spring Season. BLG versus Vici. Let's get right down into it. Already early wards going down the red buff there from the side of BLG, but first strike is an Infernal, so we are guaranteed not an Infernal Rift.
Well, that is breaking the trend so far. We have seen a lot of Infernal Dragon Souls being thrown at us in the LPL. Talking about the level 1s a little bit, I like Vici's respect for the possibility of Glacial Augment plus the Braum combo, so we're seeing them back out right away. And BLG, how defensive are those runes? They definitely know the strength of iBoy's Misfortune plus the Leona lane. They've seen it so many times in the Demacia Cup, and they know that Vici with Ornn in the top side are going to be focusing down bot.
Actually, interesting little adaptation there. We actually saw iBoy take the scanner, went back, took up a scanner so they could get rid of that ward off of the red buff to deny any kind of vision, which I quite like from the side of Vici.
I will also point out this is a trick that we saw RNG pull in the Demacia Cup. They actually took a bit of damage from the red buff. Now, it could be accidental, but a lot of what we're seeing is people trying to fake out with leashes where the jungle is actually starting.
What's your favorite rift?
My favorite rift?
Yeah, from the augmented rifts. What's your favorite one? Not power up. Your favorite rift.
My favorite rift?
Yeah, like the way they change the rift, like the mountain adds more stuff, the infernal takes away.
I really like the ocean one. It's very serene.
It's a pity we don't have Forecast Janna though anymore. Well, we do have her, but she doesn't get played.
That is
That
true.
would have been really fun if she had interactions with the new Rift.
And I also do like the fact that Rengar is completely busted now.
Are you a Rengar
such
player?
a fun one. No, but I watch a lot of Whippo playing Rengar, and it's super fun. Because he has so many range abilities, he just sits on Conquerors the entire time. Now, we do see Forge getting the shove early, but now the gank coming in.
Here we go. They do get a stun off onto Forge. Repels up. Meteor is, though, going to be chased down by Chieftain. They're trying to get him. Flash away, though. The Ignite, tick, tick, boom. First blood to BLG. And Fofo makes his name known in the mid lane.
Yeah, just focused way too hard trying to chase that spider down. Good flash and use of Q to get that extra bit of distance away for himself. And unfortunately for Chieftain, missing his first E and then still going in that far. You really can't do that against the Qiyana level 3.
Fofo really starting to bully this lane here, and Jace is someone we kind of see as a bully himself, so Fofo picking up a kill, being able to push in this wave as well, gives him free reign towards any of the other lanes. This is a fantastic start for the LMS star.
Yeah, and it might get a little bit worse for Chieftain. You do see the fake leash was called out there. Obviously, they saw he didn't have his own red buff at that point, so they're going to be in very good control of his jungle pathing, and Meteor is in perfect position to track him from the top side now.
Yes, they have the advantage, but it's all about what you do with that information, what you do with that money, gold, you know, all the vision you can possibly get. But so far so good for BLG, and Vici got called out. Not the worst thing in the world. They can always kind of reevaluate and come back into it.
Definitely is the case, and looks like they're going to go another team fight here with Maestro coming in.
They're going to try and go for it. Leona jumps in, but the Braum is there as well. Jinmo is going to be able to jump straight on top of Chieftain. 0-2. Chieftain now probably seeing why Meteor was picked above him.
Ooh, that's got to be a tough pill to swallow at that point. I feel like Vici is really forcing it too hard. The bottom lane wasn't present in the lane at all, and they had full river control. So Vici really hedging their bets, trying to get this Jace to become a relevant force. I understand that type of thinking, but you have to cross out all the possibilities if you want to go for that play.
Very, very, I would honestly say kind of, you know, expected play coming out from Vici. They very clearly threw out Chieftain to the mid lane. I say BLG saw that one. You know what? They're probably going to do it again. Leona's not here. They're probably going to try and chuck it up again. So just very good pathing from Meteor just to understand what was most likely going to happen next. And even if they didn't go up towards that top or that mid lane, no harm, no foul. He just wastes about 20 seconds. That's about it.
Just a great presence of mind to go up there into the top side as well. And you have to notice, Shimo didn't even have to burn his heal for that play to work. So they definitely had it in the cards that that was a play that was likely to happen. And very unfortunately for Forge, you see him actually getting pushed in this matchup, sorry. That doesn't usually happen. That's not supposed to happen. But because Fofo got the blue buff off of Chieftain so early, he's now dominating the lane, and that's going to open up so many roam opportunities for the Qiyana. Early, you can actually see Vici, they're pulling back their aggressive bottom lane all the way to their tower because they know how much of a threat Qiyana roam early is.
I feel like Vici might be in a little bit of trouble here. There is a Bramble Vest here onto the Ornn. They are going to try and jump on top of him straight away, but the riposte to finish him off, flashing away, but to no avail. BLG just soaring ahead in these solo lanes.
Through the goalpost, Meteor finding his mark on that one. Very well done. He did it through 2 minions, and then Kingjin finished off the kill with style, hitting the last vital proc.
You see, Meteor is not done. He knows that he can just keep pushing this, you know, this agenda forward and keep going for it. That Scryer's Bloom did not hit Meteor. And again, he doesn't really have much else to do. Yes, he could take a camp or two, but that's not really going to change the kind of dynamic of the lanes. He's fine to just kind of constantly babysit these solo lanes.
And he also has a superior matchup against Chieftain as well. In this point, what he can do is just constantly walk into Chieftain's jungle, call him out when he's doing the camps, and try to make sure that nothing can happen to his bot lane. Vici is so reliant on this bot lane for working well now that they've lost control of mid, and they were never going to have much control in top either.
You can see already Fofo roaming up with Meteor. See if those days of duo queuing spam do pay off. They've already called missing. You can see the desperation pings coming out from Vici already. They just do not know where anyone is right now from the top side down.
Nope. No wards across the river. They can't really force it at this point. And second rotation blue buff, excuse me, is going to be taken away, furthering the roam advantage that Fofo has.
Vici trying to see if they can answer back in some way, shape, or form. But here is Meteor again. He knows there's no flash here for Cube. They're just going to drop down the grand challenge, and again, hits that last vital. Kinging now 2 kills up.
You got to feel bad for that one. Nothing much that they could do. Chieftain isn't allowed to go into his own topside jungle at this point, so they're just going to have to find something back with this Infernal Drake.
We'll pick up an Infernal. At this early stage, it's like 1 or 2 AD. It's nothing major, but it is definitely an investment. It's a deposit account. It's an investment in the future, hoping that the next few dragons go your way. You kind of extend the game out a little bit longer, and you gain those extra stats much, much easier.
It's all about that Drake stacking and forcing people to come into the team fights. That's probably Vici's win condition right now. They're not going to dominate the lanes with Jace. They're not going to be really winning out with Aibo and Maestro in the bottom lane, with Fofo being able to move around. So they're going up to their secondary win condition, trying to goad people into that team fight.
So kill and a bit of plate money up the top side in exchange for a dragon. So it's power now versus power later. And Vici with that cull as well. Like I said, they've kind of brought the aggressive Aibo. As I say aggressive, they're going straight in on this, but we talked about the Braum being such a huge counter. Pops up the Unbreakable, there is nothing getting past him, and Aibo's damage is negligible.
And Vici actually committed a lot to this roam. This is a 4-person roam that was outplayed by Jin Zhao. This is why you bring Cleanse into the matchup. They've definitely done their homework on this one.
I love how BLG are rotating as well. It just feels so controlled. It doesn't feel like they're, reacting to anything that Vici's putting out there. More so that they don't have to do anything crazy. They can just go about exactly what they think is going to happen. That
is something about Korean coaches I really admire. Instead of contesting all lanes at the same time, they know when to play defensive. And Coach Sim is that type of a coach. BLG, despite being 4th place, they were actually behind in CS in all of their lanes. They were able to hold their cards very close to their chest and just wait for the team fights. Now, that might seem simple and might seem normal even in NA, but it's something that's really, really rare in the LPL. In the LPL, everyone tries to play aggressive. You don't get those chances to say, hey, coach, I'm going to sit back.
This is controlled, it's tempered, it feels like there's a method to every single thing they do. There's a reason for it, and now, with the Rift Tile being started up and the entirety of Vici Gaming now around it, they really want to secure this objective because they know that they need to try getting gold now because they're about 3,000 gold behind.
Ooh, but this is a very slow Herald take. Everyone is rotating here. Chieftain might be in trouble.
He does not have level 6 yet as well, so the explosive cast not available to him. Senna going to be joining the fight very, very soon. You talked about 5v fights being very, very important in this meta. It looks like BLG are setting themselves up for one.
Yeah, this is bad terrain for Vici, though. Look at Fofo's positioning. He could easily seal off that choke with his ultimate, and Vici are forced to give that one up.
They're forced to give that one up, but not only that, they also just kind of gave up all the pressure in the lanes as well. Now you're giving BLG the inside track to go back to bot, mid, top, push in those waves, get resets, look for another advantage somewhere else. Vici, it kind of looks a bit panicked, if I'm being honest. It looks like they're trying to make something happen. They're trying to hard force it without really thinking about what they should be doing.
I don't really blame them at this point. If you have a Jace and the early game looks like this for you, you have to find chances. You have to take risk and try to claw yourself back into the game. So, the play they made, they kind of had to do it, but BLG really matched that one. What I liked about them is that they had their bot lane moving there so early.
And we can see now with the Moby Boots picked up for Fofo, they've got the wave pushed up, and Cube, you've got Flash, but where are you going to go, buddy? There's just nowhere for you to be. They've got the explosive cast, but it was beautifully buffered by the riposte. And oh dear, this top lane is not going well for Vici.
That was insane tower tanking coming in from BLG. They really calculated all the possible outcomes, and only 2 tower shots taken by Fofo. A very early searing charge being used by Cube as well. And if you look at all of these dives, what's happening is that they're not giving Cube any time to use his ultimate whatsoever. They're only revealing the dive when all 3 of them are underneath tower. They're not giving him any wave clear opportunity.
And what I love about this as well is that they just took all 5 plates up in topside as well. And they still have a Rift Herald at hand. They can still move that to mid, to bot, wherever they want. There is so much just standing gold effectively available to BLG. Vici, they're just getting submerged by this wave of gold that's just, BLG have accumulated.
1,700 gold difference on Meteor versus Chieftain. The 2 brothers at war, and you can see why BLG made the choices that they did.
Meteor definitely looking like stronger of the 2 so far. Chieftain just hasn't found a foothold yet, and again, you talked about how we can't really blame Cube. There's just nowhere for him to go. There's nowhere for him to do. He's just so far behind in this lane matchup that if he doesn't have the support of his jungler or even Forge in that regard as well, he just can't do anything.
Definitely is the case. Not many options here. And what I think BLG can do is they can just drop this Herald into the bot side. They can decide to overload the bottom. And something about Herald in the new patch with the Bulwark is that if someone overloads you with the Herald, you have to defend. You cannot trade because the Bulwark is going to prevent you from taking towers down very fast. We saw that from Rogue Wars. They took 2 towers versus 3 plates with the Herald 4-person push. Against a 4-person push without Herald. So it makes a lot of difference, and it really opens up the macro decisions for the team that is already in the lead.
BLG will have free reign of this Mountain Drake as well, so it gives them a little bit more tanky stats, which honestly, very handy for them. They are a very squishy team overall, so getting the extra little bit of stats on their defense is definitely going to help them out. But Leona has found herself hiding behind Kingen, but Kingen could be a little bit screwed here. Needs to be very careful. There is the Solar Flare and the Call of Four Gods, but with a pretty clean riposte and a flash, Kingen is out of there. No harm, no foul.
He didn't really even riposte anything. Wasn't needed. Just got out with the flash and lunge, and there goes another dissolved play. BLG don't really even need to stack up at this point because the wave is pushed so far in the top side.
And you can even see, even though they don't need to stack up, they are still just doing it the correct way, ticking every box, put the elites up forward, make sure that Meteor is in a position that if anyone tries to attempt to try and defend this, he's there and he can blow up pretty much anyone at this stage. Fofo forcing iBoy's heal out of him, and he's able to get out. Again, it's desperation plays coming out here from the side of Vici. It feels like they're just kind of not sure where to go, and they're trying to hard force everything.
It's pretty much what you have to do in this situation, but this is going to give BLG an open opportunity to then engage on them as well. They don't know where Meteor is. You have to play super respectful.
Meteor being literally AFK, or MIA I should say, is just such a scary prospect right now. Already gotten his Runic Echoes and the Sorcerer Shoes, so he has just got a huge amount of effectively true damage going down onto people if they are caught out by him, and he has a fantastic game. You can see that 9 plates to 1. That is unfortunate.
And everything that Senna got was from that bot lane push. That is extremely impressive for a duo lane that's been pushed in the entire time. He comes out 420 gold ahead, even in a losing lane matchup. Now, there is a new item I want to point out. We do have the Umbral Glaive being picked up here by Fofo, and it should open them up to a lot more opportunities to use that Blackout passive and find kills.
Oh, Forge. Buddy needs to get himself out. Flash in. They will not land the stun. Fofo not able to get that CC lock going. But overall, just burning a flash for a flash.
That was very close to getting that one, but good job by Forge there. Flashing far away enough to get himself out of terrain.
And this is clean from BLG. This is so clean. They've lost a dragon, 1 plate, and 0 kills. They have not really let up at all. They've just done everything methodically, very much so, and to their own advantage. Vici are the ones that kind of have to make the plays now. They're the ones that have to come at BLG and make something happen, which is so hard to do, especially when you're going against a 1-4 comp, like you said in the pregame.
I think what Vici have to do is that they have to force a 5v4 in the mid lane when Kingen is split pushing. They're basically going to have to go, you know what, we're going to lose this tower regardless. Let's hedge our bets even further. Try to see if we can get an engage.
There we go. Stun does land. They pop down the Grand Challenge, and that's the tankiest member of the team from Vici deleted.
That's pretty unfortunate, and one of the reasons Elise is so highly prioritized because of that AP damage.
Yeah,
Fofo can get out.
Oh, Flash not going to hit, though. They're going to be able to keep him there just underneath the tower. Chief to make sure of it with the explosive cast to make sure. But again, a lot invested. And King is just pushing. He's a Fiora with a Ravenous Hydra. He doesn't need to stop.
I just feel so bad for Cube. He hasn't been able to use his ultimate whatsoever. He used it once.
And they didn't even get a kill from it that one time. It's looking pretty dire. You're losing turret plates, you're losing towers, you're losing pressure around the map. Your favorite Dragon's Rift has also come up the ocean. It is very pretty.
So the Ocean Drake, in my view, actually favors the offensive team a lot of times. It's much harder to dislodge someone when those brushes can go around the corner. If you drop a pink ward, it doesn't cover the entire brush. Someone could still be hiding in one of those corners. So I think if you're the losing team and you're looking at this, a lot of times it's the pain in the neck. You're trying to go and clear your own jungle to get to our objectives. The Ocean just makes it even harder.
We talked about how Vici, they want to get 5v5s or even 5v4s if they can around some kind of an objective. They doubt they'll be fighting around this Rift Herald considering the Chieftain is on the bot side. But with Dragon spawning in 40 seconds, you have the Essence Reaver now, you have the Yomu's Ghostblade. Is it kind of coming up to that moment where they need to look for a fight around one of these, or are they just going to slowly move, like lose more and more ground to this BLG monster that's coming at them?
I really think they have to just fight it out. They don't really have the scaling advantages here. Senna got a very early mana new name from all the gold that she was able to pick up from her tower. Also, Kingen versus Ornn. This matchup is not going to get any better for Cube. So if Vici want to pull the trigger, they have to pull it now. And the best way, honestly, to do it is still what I was saying before. You just give up one of those outside towers, and you say, you know what, Kingen, do your worst, but we're going to get your team for it.
We talked about Meteor being the franchise player, the golden boy of this roster, and you can see 100% kill participation, gets the second Rift Herald, puts it up into that top lane. And it's just more pace, more power, more pressure being put down here by BLG. They got 3-man strong. There's nobody here from the side of Vici. They're just going to lose an inhibitor pre-20 minutes.
This is so damn smart from BLG. Like I was talking about, Vici have to hedge their bets, most likely at Drake, but BLG just outplayed them by overloading the top side of the map. And when you have a Herald buff that does true damage, you're going to win any overload.
What I love about that is that there has been a lot of debate within the league community about whether or not the new Rift Herald is good. I think it's definitely situational, but in that situation, BLG proven that is just huge. A pre-20-minute inhibitor in the top side. Yes, you lose an Ocean Drake, but those are very much non-combat stats. You're not going to be able to use them when fighting against BLG. So Vici, they definitely come out 100% on the bad side of that.
Yeah, BLG are going to do burst damage to you. It doesn't really matter about the regen at this point. So that was a pretty... that Drake wasn't really going to do anything for them. And you have to compliment how BLG are thinking about the map. They understand what Vici is going to do in their next steps, and they just play around it perfectly.
And for Vici, what do you do? What do you try and do if you want to try and get back into this? Because right now, it's a ruffle stomp. I'm not trying to be mean, but Vici, I'm not feeling very confident in this team. And I also put them in my top 8 as a playoff team.
I really need to see a risky engage come out from Chieftain. As a Gragas, there's always a slimmer of hope that you can make something like that happen. They have the correct engage tools. They just need to find the opportunities. And they're not going to be able to do it without Forge present. That's a huge part of their damage at this point. But once he clears the top wave, you know, you have to pull the trigger. This is what I've been keep on saying. I don't really like that Vici has not tried to overstack and at least try to punish some of the movements that BLG are doing. A lot of times they're moving around without Kingen anywhere near the 4-man. You should be able to hedge your bets and just go like, we have to go in now. This is not going to get better for us.
It's going to take a pretty big play coming out from Vici to bring this in. But again, kudos to BLG. They are suffocating this Vici side 100% out of their own jungle. Like you said, the Ocean Drake map basically helping them out so much. And they've wrapped around now trying to see if Vici really do want to defend this mid lane turret. Good thing for Vici, they have got a decent amount of wave clear with Jace, Misfortune, and the Gragas. But overall, it's just becoming so difficult. You can feel the rope just feeling it getting tighter and tighter as BLG just look to try and find that one mistake.
It's not going to really be possible.
Did they get another inhibitor here?
Oh, he blocks the Ornn again.
Yeah, they block the Ornn. He has to flash away. That is Q being pushed back down below a quarter of his HP. They break open another inhibitor turret. Chieftain trying to find his way around, but there's just perfect vision along that whole route for the side of BLG, and they are undeterred, unafraid of Vici Gaming, and they take themselves another inhibitor turret. This is looking textbook.
Yeah, I really didn't like what Cube tried to initiate there, because if you look at his members on the map, Jason and Misfortune weren't in place. So you don't want to blow your ultimate early. It's much better to just hold on to that ultimate, wait until everyone rotates. You can give up the mid tower at this point. You're not really going to hold on to it anyway. So just wait for your teammates to be in place instead of doing these engages that have a very, very low chance of working. Honestly, Xingmo would have to be AFK for that play to work.
In fairness, Jin Zhao was in base effectively, but we've seen engage in the mid lane. iBoy flashes away, but don't think he's going to be going anywhere fast as him and his duo partner Maestro fall to the behemoth that is BLG, and that is going to almost certainly spell Baron, but Forge and Chieftain are here. Do they look for an engage? They've been spotted out straight away, and there's just too much damage, too much gold, too much of a gap. Another kill goes out to BLG, and they will take their prize as the Baron.
Nothing Vici Gaming can really do right now. They're hoping on a miracle snipe coming in from Forge, but doesn't look like Forge wants to force his hand at this point. He's just going to clear out the mid lane wave. And if you had any doubts if Fofo, the LMS MVP, was going to work in the LPL, I think this should settle the question.
Definitely a very, very good start for this BLG roster. Kind of picking up where they left off. But we can see here, just Fofo setting up everything.
Textbook play from him. Unfortunate turn for iBoy just going around the corner. Lands Fofo the double. And BLG are having a perfect game. That one kill, that one death, I should say, they suffered. They traded back 2 towers in the bottom lane. So I honestly have to give kudos to Coach Sim. Even though they didn't make playoffs in spring of 2019, we still gave him the best coach of the year because we thought he was giving such great fundamentals to his players, telling them how to play around timings, how to be absolutely certain that they weren't going to have anything backfire against them. And we also have to mention that Coach Sim was Fofo's previous coach on J-Team and even TPA. The two have a very long working relationship.
Eventually now that tier 1 mid lane turret will fall. It's been the one thing Vici refused to give up for majority of this game, but even so, it does eventually fall now with the power of the Baron buff. Now they can go with a 1-3-1. You can see Fofo with those Moby boots able to go towards this bot lane, empower those minions. You've got Fiora in the top side as well. They're just looking to kind of keep pressuring, keep pushing Vici back, keep looking for those 1 or 2 little skirmishes because they are just so powerful right now. They're nearly 10,000 gold ahead.
And it's very difficult to play against Jin Zhao on center right now, that he's been stacking the entire game. If you're allowed to basically sit in front of someone and continue to poke them out, it doesn't really matter if the absolution stacks have gone down for farming. You still get missed from just throwing out abilities at people.
For Vici, feel like this one, unless a god tier play comes out from either Chieftain or Maestro, it's not really going to work out for them. They need to either make a hero play or forget about it and try and change something for the next game. You can see Fofo, that's the target they're going for right now. They're going to try and jump straight on top of him. Does get a nice knockback, trying to kite it as much as he possibly can, but Forge picks up that kill. A little bit of life in Vici, but they're already losing so much.
Yeah, well done. It had to happen at some point. I like that ultimate. What I will say about the macro is this should have happened a lot earlier. I'm not sure why they hung on to their mid lane tower for so long. They lost 2 inhibitors, and they, they decided to take the inhibitor loss rather than leveraging the mid lane tower and just trying to get a 5v5 going. A lot of the times in situations like that, if you're hanging on to your mid lane tower, it's actually more risky. You saw iBoy and Maestro and the Baron being lost because of that. If you're going that far forward while Jace is farming inside your high ground, then it's not worth it. It just makes yourself a fat target sitting around Qiyana ultimates. So there's some questions I think Koma and maybe Pumandu or Maokai later on do have to sort out with this team.
Still, though, pretty decent first game of the season.
Not for Vici. I'm just laughing at Shimo, the Candyman, missing his Q kill range on that cannon. Always hurts as a support. You don't get your execute anymore.
I was gonna say, I think it just hurts in general when you miss a cannon. Like, no matter who you are, you're just like, man, I suck. That's just the way you always feel about it, because it's the most basic of things. Hit this like last hit this. That's all it is. It's
something that a lot of supports are going to go through because you don't get the execute proc once you've fully finished your support item. And you're seeing him already walking around with the Pauldron of White Rock, now with a lot more HP regeneration. And, supports don't CS, so that's also one of the reasons they're my favorite role.
You're not expected to do well at CSing. But all inhibitors have respawned now for Vici as they look to try and make a final stand. Chieftain has found himself in a little bit of fog of war as he looks to try and maybe look for a bit of a wrap. They're looking to try and maybe split this 1-4. Kingen on the top side, definitely going for something here. Jin Zhao is going to come straight onto Jinmo. They're just not able to land anything. Is he even going to be able to get taken down? I don't know, as we're waiting. Just a very scrappy fight. See, Kingen's just kind of slowly posturing away. They're going to have to use the bullet time. The only second time they're going to use it this game, just to try and keep everybody away from them. Cube just about gets out. No, JK, he gets taken down And what looks like it's going to be the final fight for Vici. Still trying to push it back. They've got Kingen coming in, though, and Kingen is massive with that Triforce, but Forge finds a response, so it's a 2 for 3 overall so far, but iBoy has nowhere to run. Meteor jumps straight onto Forge. Forge goes into the gray screen, and that is going to be all she wrote for this game, as BLG going to be able to push it in through mid.
Worthwhile attempt coming in from Vici. It looked like they had the great flank, but you got to hand it to Jinzhao. He played that one damn near perfectly. Knew he had the shield up, didn't use any of his summoners when Gragas threw his cask up, just took it to the face, and then dodged out on Cube's initiation. This looks like it's going to be game end.
I actually don't think they're going to go for the game end right here. They're actually they were pinging on the inhibitor. They're only going to go for the inhibitors right now. And then once those inhibitors are down, actually I don't even think they're going to get the third one just yet because they are playing it by the book. But overall, they take the fight. Couple of small wins there, a little bit of goal back for Vici, but again, they're losing everything while it's happening. And Baron spawning now in just under 40 seconds. It's going to be very difficult for them to try and deal with that, especially now with Kingen now having that Steris gauge.
Oof. Yeah, we saw a big shutdown go over to Forge. 900 gold on Kingen, but Kingen also picked up a couple kills himself. He's basically going to be unkillable now, and something about Misfortune into the later portions of the game, she really doesn't output as much damage as other AD carries. Let's just look at this one more time. Jinzhao, you know, face tanking the explosive cask. He knows that he's in no real danger, and Kingen even thinks about if he should join this or not, because the two-man is really outplaying the 4 coming in from Vici Gaming. It isn't until the chase at the very, very end that you see Vici actually showing some signs of life here.
And you can see as well just how afraid Vici were of this Kingen Fiora, but as I say that, they've started up the Baron. This is it. This is the play they have to make. This last chance saloon. They're trying to do it, but if you look at the mini-map, you can see a Kingen just pushing in. He can end the game. They're going to be able to try and go for the Baron right here, right now. It's been stolen by BLG, and they will take the fight as well. Everything falling apart. Kingen going to end the game himself. As the rest of Vici fall at the Baron pit, they had to make a play, and unfortunately for them, it just didn't pan out. Game 1, BLG.
As perfect as you could possibly make it, but wait a minute, Kingen is playing with his food a little bit.
He's playing his food. He's having a bit of fun right now. He's going to TP and everything, but overall, BLG with a dominating Game 1 over Vici.
I will say the LPL gods do not look favorably upon extending games like that. You always get your payback if you do that move. We've also seen that from the Shy as well. So I want to see if this gives Vici a little bit more impetus for revenge in the next game. However, I will have to cap this game up with too little too late from Vici. Very questionable macro decisions and not really forcing the issue despite playing super risky in the early game. They kind of lost their thread or were basically intimidated to fighting BLG when they really needed to. And you got to give it to BLG. All of our question marks were answered. They're able to play early. They're able to play aggressive. They're able to play with the Kiana as well, which is something they lacked a little bit with Kuro on the roster. This looks like a revamped team that knows where they're headed.
I think as well, you just got to say, as you can see by the steady climb of a mountain that BLG thing, Meteor just looked good. Meteor almost doing the most damage on his team, and Fofo as well. That combination of those two, you giving them 2 early mobility champions, they can take over a game. Now I'm curious to see what does Coma do to change up the pick bans in Game 2.
Yeah, I think Vici Gaming really need to think a little bit further in terms of which side of the map they want to play. I know they were hyper-focused on the bot lane, but BLG countered that so damn well with the cleanse on the Senna and the heal on Xingmo. Usually you see the exhaust in that scenario, but they knew the kill combination coming in from Vici. They knew where they had to focus, and they were able to pre-plan that defeat, basically, hand it over towards Vici.
First marks, if you were a teacher and you were marking these two teams, what would you give them?
Ooh, I would give BLG, I think it's a straight A+ or even an S if they give.
If we're going off of like arcade rankings?
Yeah.
You give them an S? What about Vici?
Vici, a lot of things that happened in this game, I think just snowballed off of the first initial play, a misplay coming in from Chieftain. A little bit unfortunate that had to happen, and that really brought Forge down as well. The first 2 plays where you saw the jungle basically be completely taken out of the game, top lane being left wide open, that's what really drowned them. So if I'm Vici, well, I'm not going to focus too much on those early game mechanical mistakes. I'm going to pull the team back and say, like, hey, why aren't we going more forward? Our macro decisions are a little bit weird. We actually had windows come back into this game, but we really didn't take them. That would be what I would be more concerned about if I was Coma.
I will say, though, for someone that we hype up quite a lot, he's got a lot of fans. iBoy was invisible. iBoy wasn't in that game. He might as well not have been in that game. He didn't really do anything. Now, I will obviously give the caveat that he wasn't allowed to do anything from the side of BLG, but that's not something that we expect from a player that is expected to be the star, to be the carry, to be the clutch person, the shy, the Uzi, if more relevant terms. He didn't do anything.
That is true, but for me, I blame the initiation rather than the misfortune, because the misfortune's an artillery piece. Like she digs in,
she
and she's
is
like
straight up a glass cannon.
Yeah, so that would be what I would be looking towards in Vici, and that would be my main problem as well, is that they don't have a stable initiator, and that was the problem in Dimasha Cup as well.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see now if Vici can rectify some of the mistakes, or if BLG are going to be smashing this one home in a 2-0. We're going to send it to a quick break. When we return, it will be Game 2 of this Best of 3 series.